Joining me now is Steve Pfile from Pfile Homes. Steve, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Steve, this is a great house that we're standing in, and I understand that you're a custom builder, but what does that mean?
Well, custom builder means we sit down with the customers and do the preliminary meetings with them to find what type of home they're looking for, the price range they want to be in, the features they want in the home. And then we kind of carry them through that whole process into plan development and then into actual construction of the home.
Well, I understand that you work with the clients from start to finish.
Exactly. Being small, it's nice because I know the customers on the front end, the middle end, and the back end. We don't turn these people over to an expediter or something like that. So really, they're meeting with me in the beginning of the construction, throughout the whole process of construction, and then on closing day, I'm the one sitting there handing the keys over to them. So.
And this house really is an example of how you listen to your clients and work with their vision. Tell me about that exterior.
Well, the exterior, these customers were looking for more of a craftsman style home. She had always enjoyed the craftsman style and had a vision of the basic floor plan, which we were able to model into what we have here, but then incorporating those craftsman features in the exterior with the tapered column, the craftsman door, adding some stone and different details on the exterior just to give it that craftsman look.
And by also being a custom builder and working with your clients from the very beginning, you saw that there were certain changes that they could make outside that just really went more to the whole overall feel of the house.
It does. During construction, when the house was actually framed in and we saw how it looked on the lot, we were able to tweak it and make some changes, adding a little bit more stone in that to kind of incorporate the exterior more and make it flow better into that craftsman feature that was their ultimate goal. So.
But it's also about listening to their budget too.
Yes, but usually we use like a 3-step process. We kind of sit down in the beginning looking at their features, what their vision would be for a house, the size of home they're looking for, and then the details in the home. And from that I can kind of get them into a range of prices that I think this house is going to fall. Sometimes that may or may not work into their budget, so then they would have to make determinations on what they ultimately want in the home.
So it's figuring out their wants versus their needs.
Right, and making sure it all works within their budget.
This home itself is just gorgeous from that outside, and that carries on through to the inside here. From that foyer, when you just walk in, I love the staircase, and I love the features that it feels like a craftsman home, but it's very wide open.
Yeah, and that was one of the nice features. A typical craftsman, they're chopped up a bit. The rooms are smaller. They wanted the craftsman features, with the square newel posts and the balusters and the railing and so forth. But yet they're a family that likes to entertain and they want open spaces. So we were able to incorporate the features of the craftsman, but yet some of the modern features of a newer house using the open foyer into the great room, into the kitchen, dinette area.
Also, you were able to make some changes to it, just cosmetic type of things that really just make such a difference. I love how much light comes in from the porch.
That was one of the changes we did through the construction phase. They had a large patio door going out over a porch that they had on their old home, and they wanted to include that in their newer home too. But as we stood there, once it was framed in, I just realized that it just didn't seem like there was enough light coming in through that area. So talking to the owners, we decided to add a transom window above that entire patio door and just kind of lift that whole doorway up, let more light come into the great room. I think it really worked out well.
And just being able to pay attention to those details, another thing that you suggested was a ceiling in here too.
Right. I mean, we've done this in other homes, and just being in a craftsman style home, doing the beamed ceiling, it's just something I know that people notice right away when they walk in, and as soon as I mentioned it to them, the owners, they were like, that sounds like something we want to incorporate, and I think it's probably one of their favorite features of the home.
It really is quite striking, and it's not something that blows out the budget either.
No, it's the way we do it, it's pretty economical to do. It is a little labor intensive, but the overall effect, I think, works really well.
And that family room, as we said before, just comes right into this kitchen here. And what a fantastic space this is. Tell me about some of the features in here.
Well, here, they wanted a nice, wide open kitchen. I was in their existing home, little tighter space. She didn't want that. She wanted something open. So we went quite open here. As in all of our homes, we used the custom-built cabinetry. They decided to go into the granite countertops, the travertine backsplash, the stainless appliances. So all these, modern features, yet keeping in the craftsman style.
Well, and how they make these selections and how that whole process works is something that you plan out with them beforehand. So it's not just all of a sudden up front they have to make all their selections or just they need it immediately. You really work with them in just the whole process.
Exactly. I try not to overwhelm them. I mean, there's quite a few decisions in building a new home, and you don't want to overwhelm somebody and think they have to make all these up front. So we kind of do it in stages. Cabinets are something that take a long time to build. Could be 4 to 5 weeks. So that's early on in the process. Once we get the plans developed, I'd send them to my cabinet builder, and we would start working on the cabinets. It's usually a nice flow through the whole process, so they feel comfortable at the end and they're not overwhelmed in the process.
Since 1994, Birkin Heating and Cooling has been a factory-authorized Carrier dealer. Their entire staff is highly skilled, specializing in designing and installing complete Carrier comfort systems. For service or new installation, call on Birkin Heating and Cooling today. Home builders and residential homeowners alike depend on Paul J. Coonan Plumbing. When you are looking for professional plumbing services with excellent workmanship and experience, you can trust Paul J. Coonan Plumbing, because nothing is more important than peace of mind. For over 17 years, Hans Builders has been providing contractors and homeowners high-quality interior finishing, from baseboards to crown molding. Hans Builders will be sure any project, large or small, is done right the first time. Call Hans today.
Well, we've known Steve for a long time. We've seen the quality of the houses he's built, and we've always been impressed with it, and we wanted Steve to be our builder.
Yeah, we like the characters that he brings to a home, the features.
We started out the process with a floor plan we liked, and then from there we brought it to Steve. Steve made a few changes, we made a few changes, and it just went from there.
Yeah, he basically sits down with you. He's just he understands what you're trying to come across, find different ways to bring the look that you want.
We're always concerned about the price of the house, and Steve was very good at keeping things on budget and on time, and we got a lot of quality features we're not sure we could get somewhere else. He added a coffered ceiling, which really adds to the look of the formal living room or the family room. Also, the upstairs casings, he added a more cottage look to it that represents what the bottom or the lower level casings have, but without the added cost.
Also, he added, certain things as far as the transom windows, being that it just didn't look right, so then he added those to it. As the building process was going along, he just tweaked it, and he said, this will look a little bit better, and we agreed.
Anytime we had a question, we could get a hold of Steve, and Steve had an answer for it, or he'd meet us out at the house during the building process, and we'd talk about it or go through it. I've talked to a few people and said, hey, why don't you, that we're interested in building houses, and I said, why don't you check out Steve Pfile and talk to him? We had really good luck with him, and yes, we'd recommend Steve Pfile as a general contractor.
Definitely.
When builders are in need of excavation or site work, they call on Rick Huss Excavating. With 17 years of experience, a knowledgeable staff, and heavy equipment, they are prepared to take on any excavation job. Call Rick Huss today. When quality counts, you can depend on Eitenbrook Plastering. They have the experience to offer high-quality work in commercial or residential plastering. Eitenbrook Plastering possesses the values you look for to get the job done right. At Wisconsin Building Supply, we have you covered. For years, Wisconsin Building Supply has been providing local builders the best materials for your home. We offer high-quality products, superior service, and competitive pricing. 920-738-3100.
And these team members that you're using, from your cabinet guy to your plumber, these are all people that you've worked with for a very long time.
Yes, we've been in business 20 years. A lot of our subcontractors we've used since day one, so a lot of them we've used for 20 years. They understand what Pfile Homes is looking for in the sense of quality and the features that we need done, and they basically take it from start to finish in their trade.
And Steve, in terms of the layout and just the finishes of this kitchen, they're really second to none. But I love just how this whole area flows and that it all opens up to the screen porch here. Can you tell me about that space?
Well, the screen porch, it's a feature they had in their old home, and they really enjoyed it, and they wanted to build something very similar on this home being on the water. The owner wanted to put some sweat equity into the project, so what we did is we basically did the skeleton of the screen porch, and he was able to finish it off from there, and it turned out to be just a wonderful space.
And these are great entertaining spaces, but there's also the private space, the master suite. Can you tell me about that space?
Their master suite is on the first floor, which they wanted. They had an upstairs master suite in their old homes. They wanted to keep everything on one level, so we were able to incorporate that. They want more of an intimate space, so we do have the 9-foot ceilings, the double crown molding, but a very warm, cozy space directly off the main living center.
And that master bath, you don't have a garden tub in there. You just have a very large shower, and that's something that people are looking for these days.
Exactly. A lot of our customers have maybe had the whirlpool or garden tubs, and they realize that they just don't use them, and it's just wasted space. So in this house, they elected to just add a large walk-in shower, and that turned out very well. And I see that that's kind of a trend the way houses are going out. People are trying to eliminate the spaces and the features they don't use and add the ones they do. So
maximize the spaces that they're going to live in.
Exactly.
Now, Steve, this is a great example of a craftsman style home, but you said yourself earlier that you do a lot of different types of homes.
Correct. This is a craftsman style, and I would say more of a family home. They have 3 kids, so they needed the bedrooms, but we can certainly accommodate any style, from ranches to 2 stories to whatever the person's needs. And a lot of times, maybe a empty nester might need a smaller ranch type plan. They're done dealing with steps and things like that, but they don't need the space, but then they're looking for nicer amenities. So we can certainly make the space smaller or accommodate their needs, and then adding the amenities that they're looking for.
Just being able to make those suggestions talks about your history. Can you tell me a little bit more about that?
I started as a young man, enjoying home building. After being a pattern maker in the Navy and getting my engineering degree, it was something that I knew I wanted to build my own home. So 20 years ago, I basically went off and built a home of my own. And after that process was done, went into building a spec home, which I sold, and then it just kind of mushroomed from there and into where we are today, where we're doing maybe 10 to 12 homes per year.
Now, I know to get started, they can give you a call, stop by a spec, and really find out a little bit more about the company.
Exactly. That's the way we like to meet. We like to meet, sit down one-on-one with the customer and start from scratch.
Steve, it's been really enjoyable taking a tour of this home and finding out a lot more about your company. I want to thank you so much for being on the show today.
Thank you.